day two for Power Morphincon. So I didn't record yes, but I want to see what it looks like now. Going to show you what it looks like and some panels. See.
I mean, the people in the panel with me.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Appreciate it. Okay.
Established already, right? And I thought it was wonderful. I just thought it was inappropriate for little kids because the world is depressing enough without telling everybody what happens. So every now and then, you don't make decisions in a vacuum. You make them with a group of people. Everybody has different feelings slightly about the show, and we just wanted to, have fun with it. And we do it quite often. I mean, I forget what season it was. What's the season with all the prisoners, the monster prisoners in the spaceship? Where at the very end, we think it all died, but then the camera comes down and you find a hand moving or something. And in this case, it was, a light blinking. And we did it just because we wanted to imply that life goes on. Sometimes when you frame an actor, you don't frame them perfectly. Sometimes you want to make sure there's actors who are half cut off because you want to imply there's another, that the world goes on beyond the frame of the television set. And the same thing happens in story. So here, at the very end, we show everybody thinks everything's over with, and they're all celebrating, but the red light's still blinking. This guy's still alive, and oh my God, what's going to happen next? Ah, the season's over with. But then, as you know, right, decades later, we picked that up again, and it actually kind of worked kind of nice. It was kind of fun, right? That was a fun plot point. Now, little teeny kids don't know it because they don't remember the show from 10 years ago. But in one of the first seasons, we imply that the villain's still alive somewhere in the code, and then later on, when the computer code takes over, we imply that it was that one from 20 years ago. And it works for older fans who know the one before, and it works for younger fans who didn't know. So it just kind of worked magically that we can make it work that way. And it was really fun. As a writer, when you find things you can call back to that'll be understandable and appreciated by everybody, it makes it a lot of fun to write the show that way.
And was that the plan from the beginning of Beast Morphers, or was that kind of a discovery that this coded villain was actually Vengeance?
I think that at the beginning, we had that idea, but we didn't want to give it away too much because obviously everybody would guess it and it wouldn't be any kind of surprise. But at the same time, every time you write an episode, your production is racing to get these things done, and you're trying to keep the scripts, up because they're coming down. Everything is waiting on the scripts, right? So you're getting them done. You just don't have time to think 20 episodes ahead of what's going to happen, except in very broad strokes. So things change as you move along until you finally get to the episode where you're going to do that reveal, and a lot of other things have changed, and you may have done a good job of laying the track for it. Maybe you did a poor job. The last few episodes, you try to lay a little bit more and try to get some hints and clues, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. And really good showrunners make it work really well, and people who don't really give a damn maybe don't make it work so well. And I don't know that things work really well with us because we have so many other things we're up against. Like the scripts and the tapes coming and all kinds of strange things happening that we can't anticipate. But that one we had an idea at the beginning it was going to work that way. And I think it was kind of cool, personally.
You brought him up, and I realized that's another connection to Super Sentai I would like to bring up is Koichi Sakamoto, who has worked with both of you, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's just Mr. Toku of Japan. He's now done Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai. What can you tell us about working with Koichi Sakamoto?
It was great. It was a little intimidating at first because you have to remember, I was a complete newbie. I had, kind of touched on the first Power Rangers movie, which is involved with some of the costumes, very briefly. And then, other than having friends that worked on various seasons, I was an outsider. But that was one of the reasons why Disney picked me. I was working on some other things with them, and they were just like, "Oh, you'll fit in good here. We need some fresh blood." But unfortunately, that term, fresh blood, went over to New Zealand and kind of scared everyone. They thought I was more like the cleaner, I was coming in to, kind of take accounting on everyone and kick people out. And, this was Koichi's baby. He had been involved since almost the very beginning. So at first it was this weird kind of intimidating, he was very quiet and, didn't really want to talk about it. And I was trying to do all these new ideas. But then after we had written the first episode, because I was going to direct it, I storyboarded the whole thing, and I storyboarded what I wanted for second unit. And they were like, "Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't give Koichi." But I was like, well, I at least want to show them what's been shot. And when the footage came back, it was frame for frame what I had boarded. And I was like, wow. And I just went and thanked him. And then from that point on, we were just great friends. He, just tried to, come to me. And there were little things like the female Red Ranger, or certain things where I just wanted to do things differently. And he was one of the main people that were like, "There are rules." I was like, "Yeah, but we're 13 years into this. We got to break it a little to make it." But in terms of stunts, I've worked with a lot of stunt people on a lot of movies, and just as Chip said, you go out there. They could probably make more money just selling tickets to watch these guys do the stunts. They would do these things. There'd be 50 wires, and then you know, the person would go up and do 1,000 spins, like so professional, so tight, and like I said, you know, even though he had been involved with the Japanese side from the beginning, when they finally saw SPD footage, they were like, you know what, we're gonna start coming and shooting with you guys in New Zealand. Like, he's just that good. His whole team is right.
When we started Power Rangers, we hired Hollywood stuntmen to do all the fights. Well, first we actually tried having some of the Rangers, the cast, be in their costumes, and that went nowhere. That was awful. Because they don't know, a few of them know a little bit of karate, but not all of them, right? That's not a prerequisite, as Iris will tell you. You don't have to know karate to be a Power Ranger. So what we did is we hired these Hollywood stuntmen, and the fights in the Japanese, which we're cutting in, are all really great karate fights, right? Then you cut to our fights, and they were like punches, like, you know, like fisticuffs, like a Western
fights.
And it was really embarrassing. It was awful. You know, they were good stuntmen, but there was completely different fighting style. They didn't know karate. So Jonathan Zahor, who was the producer at the time, he said, well, why don't we get people from Japan? And I was like, oh my God, can we do that? So we called our friends in Japan who were making the show, and we said, can you send us a stunt team? And they sent us a stunt team. They didn't speak English, and Koichi was their leader, and they started to do, you know, what we asked them to make this footage work. And it was, you know, they weren't great at first, but they were much better than the Americans had been. But shortly they became very good, led by Koichi. And Koichi is evidence. You guys have all heard of quiet quitting recently? So my advice would be, if you want to quietly quit, just quit, because that means you have a dead-end job. If you want to have a job, you want to actually get ahead, like Koichi did, who came here, didn't know what the hell he was doing on our show. We told him, he figured it out, and I'm telling you, within a couple seasons, anything you would ask him to do, they figure out. His answer was always, remember Iris in the meetings, he always say, show. That was what he'd say. Can you have him walk across the ceiling, and we want to do like a zero gravity fight? Show. And it was always sure. There was never a no, because he would just go figure it out with his team. And he would do storyboards to the more complicated stuff. His crew would then come in on the weekends. Unbeknownst to us, they'd come in on the weekends and they would do their stunt training practice on the weekends. If someone got cut or hurt, we didn't hear about it. That's the opposite of quiet quitting. It's working your ass off. And now he's the guy in Japan you go to if you want to do these kind of fights, right? So,
and on SPD, he became an executive producer of the show.
Right. When he went to New Zealand, he was executive producer for a while. When I went there, there was a whole revolt on the crew from what had been happening previous to my arrival, and Koichi left. But he had a guy who worked under him named Yuji, who had also been on the show forever, since year 1 or 2. And Yuji is also terrific, just like Koichi. He doesn't get as much name recognition, but he's fantastic. These guys are all very quiet, very low key. And they do a great job. And then a guy named Saki, now they have a new stuntman there. But all of them, they work their butts off. You never hear about it. There's never a complaint. And why am I bragging about this so much? Not just because they're friends of mine, but because I keep hearing about this quiet quitting thing. What are you doing? Just quit and go find a job that you can work your butt off and you can go through through some kind of a ceiling. If it's a dead-end job, then quiet quit. But just quit. You guys know what I'm saying? This whole quiet quitting thing.
Yeah, because this job, beyond the cool karate fights, it is not an easy job. I know a lot of you guys come in cosplay, but haven't any of you ever worn like a full creature suit, like one of the...
It grew on me. I was a big fan of Trini growing up. I loved her. I thought she was so badass and broke the stereotypes of what we would see in the 90s for women in television. Also, I am white facing, but I grew up in a brown household. I'm half Hispanic, and I've only known my Mexican side. My mom didn't have any family, so I was always around my Hispanic relatives. So it was nice to see a person of color that was a superhero on screen. So I was like, can I be yellow? And Peter was like, oh, Holly's gonna be yellow.
Which is like the worst character to put a big man in. Worst color. How about black and white stripes? Horizontal.
Peter pushed me. He's like, I really think you could be a really great peak. Maybe just try it out. It might be awesome. I had never done any RPG stuff prior.
That's a go me.
Yeah, you sold me on it because I couldn't do the show. I was too old to do the show, first of all. But I mean, I'm a huge Power Ranger fan and have been since I was a kid. So yeah, Peter was like, just come in. Maybe you could make it your own, and I definitely did. And now I love Peak, so that was some character development for me on my personal journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said yes, because I can't imagine the show without her as Pink, you know?
Aww.
But I almost picked Black as well, because when we were talking about this, we were talking about all the different Zords, and the choice was Red Lion, which is like iconic.
I didn't see that you brought it. Oh my
Yeah. But the other option was Black Cerberus.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like how many times are you gonna get to have a Cerberus as a Zord, you know? And but I ended up going with that good old Red.
So was that was the arrangement, was you guys had designed the Rangers and their Zords, or you sort of had plans?
So it was all in conjunction. So it's actually a funny story. Peter and Yoshi came up to me first and were like, hey, we want to do an RPG show of Power Rangers. And I'm like, well, we're doing one already, you can.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly
But
though.
yeah, but I was like, but you can be on ours. And so we had very specific ideas of who we wanted. And so like we knew immediately we wanted Polly, because we wanted Polly to be a ranger. Polly said yes. We knew we wanted Andre. Because we wanted a super fan on the show. We wanted somebody that was knowledgeable about the series, especially because Hyperforce is about all the different series, and so we needed a ranger that knew everything. And Andre, had always been incredibly professional and fun to work with, and he's just a funny guy.
A library.
Yeah, and we just knew he'd be a perfect blue ranger.
And I knew I was going to be blue. Like, everyone was all like, I wanted to pick all these colors. As soon as they were like, you mean a ranger? I was like, it's blue. I know. I knew.
Which one you want me to?
I accepted it already.
And then we wanted, we hadn't had an Asian American Red Ranger before, so we wanted Peter to be our Red Ranger. And then all the other colors fell into place, including
I had to audition. She was like, yeah, I don't know if she has the chops. I like went
You
in.
did not have to audition.
Yeah, I came in for the demo.
We did a play test. That's different.
Was there a chance that after the play test she would not have had the run?
No! I was a little nervous. I was like, she was nervous.
If you saw her at that play test, you'd think she was a completely different person.
I was a little quiet. I was quiet because I was like, I don't know how to add dice. I barely know how to like eat breakfast in the morning.
It was so natural. It was like you coming into it, you just knew how to like feel the spirit of Chloe and like live in the world. Like you made us like I was rewatching it the other day actually, and like all the ways that like the narrative actually split off. A lot of it was because you just wanted to screw around. Like a lot of the themes that we had, like the burritos.
Yeah.
We didn't write that in.
That was all great for me, by the way, in the back. So
I was so hungry every single time we filmed because it was right at dinner time. So I would just be thinking about food the entire time.
And they would give us burritos.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Paul, I wanted to ask, you've been in more episodes of Power Rangers than I think any other actor.
Correct.
But obviously never as a Power Ranger. What was it like being asked to step up?
Well, I mean, first of all, pretty hot and thick is a fantastic opportunity to see a franchise that usually is about very fit people kind of accept somebody with a different body morphology. Yes. And embrace that. So in the same sense, just like Peter, kind of getting to be that first, I'm really psyched to have had the opportunity to have that kind of bigness be part of the character, but not something that is joked about or dwelled upon.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a part of the world. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And really, you know, Hyperforce has definitely put me into you ain't never gonna pass me as the highest number of episodes on the show. Because it is canon, so too late.
You guys have Legacy Wars. His character model in the game is fantastic.
Yeah.
if you like Hyperforce, come by our booth. I made some minifigures of Jack and Peter. Melissa Flores, Andre, Megan,
I'm coming.
Peter.
It's happening.
You get free shit from me.
Nice. All right. Character creation. Obviously, you guys talked a little bit about colors. Did you name your characters? Did you have other names that you were considering? Was there anything about them that changed last minute or late in the game?
Chloe was always going to be Chloe. I'm a big Life is Strange fan, and I was kind of coming into my own realizing something I had already known about myself, and that was like my sexuality, and I wanted Chloe to be bi. It was so crazy because the show really helped me kind of step into that before I made that public announcement that I'm pansexual. Man, Power Rangers is so good. Hyperforce really was so healing, like a healing chapter in my life.
A big shout out to Hyper RPG and Malika and Zach who aren't here. Like, this wouldn't exist without them. They worked so hard for this show, and Malika especially worked so hard on the Zords. Like, she came up with the Zords and the theme, and I think she worked with all of you guys on creating the characters. Right?
She did, yeah. She kind of gave me free reign though, because
Oh, that's all right.
I know. And
That's why we have a lot of chaotic things in the show.
between myself and Christina.
Oh my goodness!
Do you remember the moment where Christina's like, I want to do a backflip, and then like she goes and rolls to do a backflip, and then Malika's like, you did a backflip. Okay, next person. Like, just wasting her turn.
Yeah, just remember she came to me and said, I want to die. Remember that? Yeah.
That was twisty.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of a live show. You know, it's like I love that the characters kind of grew into themselves. We did have like, I think the formats. She always like everybody did. Malika, Zach, Melissa, all guided us towards what they thought the characters would be, and we at least got to have the free reins of where we wanted it to go. You know, so it was like a guided journey on how to be a hero. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was one of those things where we had to have a lot of faith in who we cast, which is wild. And then we cast Megan because I didn't know her at all, and she turned to be this chaos little crazy. She's now like one of my closest friends in the world. I love her to death.
Power Rangers.
But yeah, we had to have a lot of faith in the process because this is a branded thing. Like, we are giving our permission for this thing to happen. We paid money for this thing to happen, but it's also live and semi-unscripted. So we had an A, B, and C, like and permanent and live stream, so you couldn't take anything back. So there had to be a lot of trust in Hyper RPG and also the actors, and that's actually why we cast the way we did, because we figured the people that we cast, like Polly, like Andre, like Peter, and Christina and Megan, respected the franchise enough that they could be crazy and wild and have their burrito times and cut each other's hands off and all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, what I really was impressed with is that they did truly act like Rangers. Like, they truly would make the Rangerly decisions to the point where they would surprise us. There was a moment in the episode that we were at Time Force, I think. Or I don't know if it was Time Force or no, SPD, where a bunch of people were supposed to die, and they were like, no, it's not gonna happen. And we literally just had to change the narrative and make them all survive because the Rangers would not allow them to die. And I thought that was really cool. It like really spoke to me that they truly embraced what it meant to be a Ranger.
I mean, you guys have role played, some of you, right? Usually you just kill everything. We couldn't do that, and Andre wouldn't let us.
Well, I mean, like, I could do that because I just practiced, but
She was actually the strongest. Like, oh my goodness.
I was OP. I was
all that stuff.
We gave it purely by chance. Malika said, I want to give one of them a battleizer, and they rolled for it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But I actually do want to add on to that and say that that's why it was pretty amazing. It's like, we didn't know how to do any of the Ranger stuff, but going through it, we learned how to think like a Ranger. And after the episode, we learned how to be like
all kids, and it's just an honor for us to make your weekend special. And I'm telling you, you guys give us more than we give you, so thank you. Isn't it fun to be back? I was so excited because there's so many of you that have been
first time I met Miguel was probably 3 Morphicons ago, and he was walking in a Red Ranger suit, and his smile was so big, like his whole face smiles. He's like personifies joy, and he made me cry because he was so full of joy. And so I got to see him again and give him a hug. He always touches my heart. So, love you, Miguel.
We meet so many people, and some of them touch us in ways that we don't even expect. I know that there's at least one fan who isn't with us anymore. He had a breathing condition, but he's not with us anymore. But every time that he would come up to the table or whatever, it was always a very special interaction that we had. So, as we said, I mean, we do take every interaction with you guys to heart, and it means a lot to us to just sort of share with you what the show meant to you, and that means everything to us. So.
Yes.
I think one thing that was really touching to hear was somebody was relaying, all of these Power Morphicons, and the first ones were happening. They were expecting it to be kids watching the current season. And we're surprised that there was 3 children in a room of 500 people. And the real strength of this fan base and this fandom that's so amazing is the people that have been here watching for these 29, almost 30 years, all the different series. So it's all you guys. And it's like everybody said, it touches our hearts so much. I know me personally, just hearing from people, obviously the kids always gets, but anyway, sorry I'm emotional, but we love you guys. You really truly are the best.
Before you continue, I'm going to start that line. Is the mic still there? Where'd it go? It's over there? All right, cool. So start the line for everybody who wants to start asking a question. Let's get it immediately. Rush, because you already know how it's going to go. Get to that line. Get to that line. Yes. So as they're lining up, I'll give you this. As we've been at the PMC, all of you guys are amazing, as I've spoken to all of you guys. My worst experience in this convention has been with you, and I'm going to tell you what happened. This is crazy. Watch. So
I got lost. I'm sorry.
So this is 2014, right? 2014 PMC, and I see Rocky. I see Steve for the first time, and I'm like, "Hey man, how you doing?" He's like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" Super nice, all of that. And then I walk away, and then I come back a couple hours later after the Red Ranger Forever Red panel, and I was like, "Hey man, why weren't you in the Forever Red panel?" Just excited. He was like, "Because I wasn't in Forever Red." I felt so stupid. I had to walk so far away, oh, okay, have a good day. You beat me, but it was so awkward, bro. I have been trying to live it out for years. How you doing, man? What's your name? Hold on, can we turn the mic on, please? There we go. What's your name?
Hey, my name is Nova. That's what I go by.
Nova, make some noise for Nova!
That's badass. I actually had a question for Kat. Sorry.
I know that she does that to guys. She does that to guys. I'm telling you.
Pardon, sorry.
She's that hot. Sorry.
No, this actually pertains to making Turbo, the Power Rangers movie. Worse than bad. I'm sorry, best than bad. Okay. During filming for Turbo, yes, your best and your worst.
Moment in Turbo?
Yes.
Well, worst, I said my worst was my last day on set because I was upset and it was horrible last day. My best moment, I really loved the episode Wait and See. I always say that because I love the message of that episode. It was, Kat was struggling with her self-esteem and wasn't eating, and as a dancer I had experienced that world as just girls not eating and starving themselves, and so I really appreciated the episode was teaching kids to love who you are on the inside, and I get a lot of people actually comment on that, so I related to it a lot. So I think that was probably my best moment.
Awesome. Thank you.
What's your name, buddy?
Hi, my name is George from Orange County, California.
Hey guys, Ben here. I hope you liked this video. I had fun making this video. I love Power Morphincon. If you like it, hit subscribe. Come movie. See my other video with a Power Ranger actress who was a villain. So check out that video soon. It will be up maybe Monday or Tuesday. So hit the like button, follow for more, and subscribe to Come Movie.